Well, it's funny when you look at your IMDb. Earlier, you're like on Murder She Wrote and these different shows, and then you start getting more into the comedy. And so you were also on Punky Brewster.
Yes.
So what
Yes.
was that like?
Well, Punky Brewster weirdly led me to my writing career because I got cast in my usual thing. And in fact, they were talking about spinning us off. Do you remember an actor named T.K. Carter? He was a comedian. And so they were
Yeah,
going to spin us off into our own show. They liked me and him so much together. And then something happened. I don't know, probably a change in executives, I think. And so that went away. But the guy who ran that show was a guy named Dave Duclon, who just passed last week. Great, wonderful guy who hired so many writers who got started. And he had come out of the Gary Marshall world, Happy Days and The Odd Couple, and he really knew how to run a show. So those of us who worked for him, who went on to run shows, learned how to do it the right way. So here's what happened. So I was on Parker Lewis Can't Lose, which was a great job. It's what got me to Santa Barbara because I said to my wife, I played the dad. It was like I worked one day a week and I got series money. It was just, I said, this is never going to happen again. So if we're going to move to Santa Barbara, I'm a kid from, I want my kids growing up in Doylestown, but they can't. So we go to Santa Barbara. I said, it's never going to happen. It's never going to be like this again. So that gets me up here. Parker Lewis ends. Now another friend of mine from the Groundlings, a guy named Barry Finero, still a great friend, great writing career, had won Emmys for Golden Girls, and he wrote Kingpin and Men in Black 2, and I Pronounce You Chuck and Larry. Great, great writing career. And those are the things He a bunch of other movies he never got credit on. Analyze This. He was the last writer in. So anyway, he called me and he said, hey, we got a pilot going at ABC. We want you to play this idiot cop. And it was like, great, that sounds wonderful. Because it's idiot for me, it's idiot fill in the blank. That's what I do. So he then he literally calls me back 10 minutes later. He said, you're not going to believe this. NBC said the quote was, "You're old news," which is not a good thing in this town. That's not a good thing. And I got two kids, just like, and I kind of in the back of my mind always knew I'd be a writer, but I always tried to stay away because acting is so much fun and so easy. I don't care what anybody tells you. It's so easy and so fun. So I don't know what to do. So I quickly write a spec Seinfeld. Seinfeld had sort of just taken off at that point. I ended up being on Seinfeld. And so I write, maybe I'd already been on it at that point. I think I maybe had been on it. So I quickly write a spec Seinfeld because people wrote specs and people really wrote spec Seinfelds then because the show's so funny. So I get it to Dave Duclon. I said, Dave, Kim Stack, he gets back to me and he said, I've read 200 Seinfeld. This is great, Tim. This is really, really funny and great. Look, I have a new show. Would you want to take a staff job on the show, which is the lowest level you start? It's an entry level job. And I just thought, I know it's a pay cut from what I was making, certainly on Parker Lewis Can't Lose, but I knew you don't want to be old news in Hollywood. You just don't want that.
right.
Much better to be new news. So I took this staff job, and it was a show called On Our Own with the Smollett family, who, if you remember that Jussie Smollett's the guy who got arrested in Chicago for,
Yeah.
I think he was like 13 then or something. And his sister Journey has had a great career. So I get on this show, and the show wasn't great. It was kind of crazy. But in that show, I met Greg Garcia, who was also a staff writer. And Greg Garcia is who I sort of have worked for and with for the last 20 years. So we became instant friends, stayed friends. He went off and created Yes Dear with Mike O'Malley, and that ran while I was doing Nightstand and Son of the Beach. But we always stayed friends. So then, when Son of the Beach ended, he showed me the pilot for Earl. My name is Earl, and I just thought, this show is so great. It's so different. I said, look, if there's a job on there, and he said, done, you're on. So that's what got me on staff for My Name is Earl. So it all sort of like the big lesson I always tell people getting in show business is like, be nice, make friends, and stay in touch with people, because that's what's going to get you your next job. And it's all been good. And Greg Garcia is a big reason for it, but it goes back to Bucky Brewster.
Coop's Comment Corner.